Next on Worcester News tonight, grief counselors on hand at a Worcester high school as students mourn the loss of one of their classmates. Plus, reducing mosquito exposure to the public. Worcester is partnering with the Central Massachusetts Mosquito Control Project. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. Family, friends, and teachers are remembering the life of an 18-year-old who died over the weekend. According to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office, Chris Agnew drowned in Webster Lake. He graduated high school just last week. Our Roslyn Flaherty joins us now with more on how he's being remembered. Roslyn?
Olivia, it's a difficult time for those who knew Chris, but say he was a great person who made everyone smile. Francis Duranamy becomes emotional as he remembers his best friend, Chris Agnew.
Chris is the type of person where when you're with him, you're always going to laugh.
Francis was with Chris Saturday night when he died. He says a group of friends left a graduation party and went for a swim at Webster Lake. Investigators say the 18-year-old went under the water and didn't resurface. Francis and others tried to help, but couldn't save him.
The most traumatic thing I personally never even experienced a death before, and then to experience it right in front of my eyes, it killed me.
Chris graduated from South High just last week and was supposed to start courses at Worcester State Monday.
I gave him his diploma, and he was very excited and happy and full of life, and then to think, and I'm sure this is what's on everyone's mind, to have a young man like him, is life gone now.
Grief counselors were on hand at school and the community held a vigil. Francis says seeing the community come together helps the healing process, and it's what Chris would have wanted.
Knowing Chris is all love. Chris is absolutely all love. We all just need to come together and love one another.
Now, there is a GoFundMe page set up for Chris's funeral expenses. Grief counselors will stay at the school if need be. Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
A busy weekend for firefighters in Northborough and Westborough as they respond to two separate fires. The first was a 4-alarm fire at a vacant building in Northborough. Investigators are working to find out how the Main Street fire started. The building was completely destroyed. Hours later, firefighters responded to another fire at an abandoned building at the former Westborough State Hospital.
Unfortunately, there's been a lot of vandalism that's been occurring there for the last few years. It's been a pretty much vacant site. Over 40 buildings there are vacant. It appears to be a set fire right now. There are multiple openings in the building, and where it was started was in a weird spot in the middle of the building, so it is under investigation.
And investigators say the fires are not connected. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Also in central Massachusetts, a murder investigation in Holden. We now know the identity of the man found dead over the weekend. The Worcester County DA's office identifies the victim as 22-year-old Lennon Valerio from Worcester. His body was found along Reservoir Street on Saturday. At this point, there is no word on any suspects. The Springfield man who lives in a home where 3 bodies were found was back in court today to face a new kidnapping charge. 40-year-old Stuart Weldon pleaded not guilty. He was arraigned in a separate kidnapping case last week. Police arrested Weldon on May 27th after a traffic stop. A woman who had been in the car with him told police she was being held against her will. No one has been charged in connection with the discovery of the bodies. Worcester Regional Airport is growing with the announcement of another flight to Philadelphia. The American airline route from Worcester to Philly is set to start in October, and for some travelers, they're excited to see more options. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now to explain. Chandler?
Olivia, American Airlines' original announcement included a single daily flight departing and arriving in Worcester around 9 a.m. Massport says the airline recently made the decision to add a flight, and they're excited to double the Philadelphia service.
Travelers flying in and out of Worcester now have more options. American Airlines and Massport announced Monday the airline is adding a second daily Philadelphia flight.
Just easier and better for us in the Worcester area to have better access to Philadelphia and the world, and vice versa.
Tim McDonald discovered the second daily flight before the announcement was made. He was looking to get to West Palm Beach from Worcester and says he was surprised to see more options for connections.
Just gives you more options for coming back, especially because the other one was earlier, I would have had a harder time connecting through it. This makes it perfect.
The new American flights depart Worcester around 6 a.m. and 4 p.m. and arrive in Worcester around 4 and 10:30 p.m. The original flight times caused mixed reviews for travelers who were concerned they couldn't make same-day connections or leave and arrive back in Worcester on the same day.
This is going to cut into a lot of that concern because now we have an afternoon flight coming in and an afternoon flight leaving.
The new service is happy news to some. Bill Randall runs a Worcester airport blog called Fly ORH. He says the new flights show the airline listened to traveler concerns.
The lesson that we learned is maybe we shouldn't just take anything that's thrown our way. We should look at it and say it's a good thing, or say no, or say to the airline, this would be better.
Randall expects the new service will put pressure on JetBlue to also add a second daily flight.
If American has 2 flights and JetBlue has 2 flights, other airlines are going to look at Worcester.
Flight prices are currently listed as $132 round trip, as low as $132 round trip. Massport Chairman Lou Evangelitis says he's hopeful this announcement brings another major airline to the city. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A strong presence of mosquitoes across central Massachusetts has some concerned, and according to a recent federal report, illnesses from bites are on the rise. Our Brittany Schaefer has more on how the city is trying to protect the public. Brittany?
Olivia, this is the first year the city has partnered with the Central Massachusetts Mosquito Control Program. They say they hope it reduces exposure of the pesky insect.
We'll get a technician out to your property. You'll be notified before he sprays.
The phone lines were busy at the Central Massachusetts Mosquito Control Project. Starting Monday, the organization has started their spray schedule in the city upon request.
We currently work in 42 communities in both Worcester and Middlesex counties.
And for the first year ever, the city of Worcester has been added to the list. The Department of Public Health says after finding a dangerous type of mosquito in the area last year, they needed to take extra precautions.
Specifically, it was the Asian tiger mosquito that was found in the city, and that specific variety of mosquito is the mosquito that has been known to carry the Zika virus.
The potential Zika virus threat, along with insect-borne illness on the rise across the country, led to the partnership. Worcester is paying around $125,000 to join the project. The executive director of the CMMCP says they offer 8 different services.
Now we can continue to monitor on a weekly basis the mosquito populations, learn about what species are out there, have these species tested for these viruses we're concerned about, and just basically gather a lot more information so that we can know how to react.
The mosquito experts say this wet and rainy spring may increase mosquito numbers this year.
The April showers, spring mayflowers, those species that have hatched are definitely flying now. From this point forward, from early June throughout the rest of the summer, it's these rain events that come through which can spawn the summer species of mosquitoes.
The city says the first line of defense is education and wants residents to know to wear bug spray, long sleeves, and long pants. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Several school systems have made the tough choice to get rid of middle school sports programs over the years, but Worcester may just be doing the opposite. Alicia Palumbo has more on the new push to bring sports back.
For many school districts in Massachusetts, funding is incredibly tight, and often sports are one of the first things on the chopping block. And once they're gone, bringing athletics back can be an even bigger challenge.
It would require the coaches, of course, transportation, cost of referees, equipment, and coordinator to coordinate the games.
But Worcester Public Schools Superintendent Maureen Benenda, a former field hockey and cheerleading coach, wants to try to answer the community's call to bring team sports back to the city's middle schools.
That has a lot of advantages mentally, physically, emotionally. It's going to help with socialization, helps you be a member of a team.
UMass Memorial Sports Medicine physician Dr. Nick DeAngelis says especially for middle school students who no longer have recess, Regular physical activity at their age creates lifelong healthy habits.
It's pretty clearly shown that people do better in school if they have these kind of outlets.
The superintendent says she's figured out a way to consolidate a new building maintenance position and free up about $70,000 in funding to provide 2 sports teams, both boys and girls, for each of the middle schools for fall, winter, and spring.
I really understand, the importance of sports for students and the relationships, how important they are to each other.
Parents are hopeful it will happen.
Because the kids wouldn't be hanging outside just doing nothing.
Yeah, we'll keep them off the phone because they will be like more active in the sport.
The superintendent will be meeting on Tuesday with the city council, school committee, middle school principals, athletic director, and members of the community to discuss this proposal. If they're in favor of it, it could be included with the school budget for the 2018-2019 school year. In Worcester, Alicia Palumbo, Worcester News Tonight.